Hello everyone and welcome to the 2014 North American Challenger Series Spring Playoffs, brought to you thanks in part by our friends at Coca-Cola. I'm David Freak-Turley, alongside me is Joshua Jat Leesman. How's it going?
I'm here to cast some Challenger Series action
with
you.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen enough, I have to say.
Yeah, but you are my third straight jungler now as co-caster. We just keep going through them. Apparently I can't find someone who wants to stay with me, Jat. Hopefully it's you.
I'm trying to recreate the solo queue experience.
Yes, new jungler every game. It's going to be another Master Yi, guys. Today we're going to kick off the semifinal round of the North American Challenger Series playoffs with back-to-back best-of-3 matches. First, we have Cloud9 Tempest taking on CompLexity.Black.
Yeah, and immediately following that matchup, it's the most dominant team in the Challenger scene, the top-seeded LMQ, taking on Curse Academy.
So as the final 4 Challenger teams get ready to take to the Rift, let's take a look at the bracket. The winners of today's 2 matches will meet up in Sunday's finals because that's how brackets work.
Yeah, and while both of those teams will be guaranteed a trip to the LCS Summer Promotion Tournament, the losers of today's series will face off tomorrow in the third-place match for the final Summer Promotion berth.
And, of course, you can always follow all the Challenger actions simply by going to LOLesports.com.
Yeah, there you'll find stats, scores, schedules, and more under the Leagues and Tournaments tab near the top of the page.
So with that, let's get into our first semifinal match, a best-of-3 between Cloud9 Tempest and CompLexity.Black. Now, interestingly enough, this is a battle between the teams who both finished second in the 2 Challenger Spring Series. CompLexity.Black took silver in Series 1, while Cloud9 Tempest took second in Series 2.
Yeah, and in the first Spring Series, CompLexity.Black was the most dominant team not named LMQ. Heading into their matchup against LMQ, they were overwhelming their opponents. Prawley, in particular, had a KDA of 38 when they finally played that final game.
Yeah, kind of a strong team overall. Of course, those Series 1 finals, LMQ actually shut down Prawley and CompLexity.Black in 2 straight games. But the good news for CLB, their second-place finish earned them enough points to get into the playoffs. And last week in the quarterfinals, they looked like that dominating squad from the first series.
Yeah, and dominating might be a bit of an understatement as CompLexity.Black smashed a Complexity Red inhibitor turret at 4 minutes and 22 seconds, which was crazy. Baron at 22 minutes in that game. Then in Game 2, they had a flawless victory, no deaths, a 27-minute win. That was so one-sided as far as series go.
Yeah, they're incredibly strong overall. So if CompLexity.Black can put up another pair of near-perfect performances, they will lock in the second straight trip to the promo tournament, as Prawley and crew competed in the spring promo tournament as Determined Gaming. Their opponents, Cloud9 Tempest, also competed in the spring promo tournament. They were known as the Walking Zed, and those guys took Team Coast all the way to Game 5. They were a game away from being in the LCS right now.
Yeah, and based on that performance, people were expecting big things from Cloud9 Tempest, and that's kind of why it was so surprising when they lost early on in Series 1 and why it was so disappointing. But, you know, as we mentioned, they did make up for it the second time around, making it all the way to the finals in Series 2.
Yeah, so a much better run for them, but even though they didn't get the gold there, of course they lost to LMQ, C9T did earn enough points to advance directly to tonight's semifinals. So if they want a shot at revenge against LMQ, their AD carry Altec is going to have to step up.
Yeah, heading into the finals against LMQ, much like Prawley, in a sense, Altec had amazing numbers. He had put together an incredible Challenger Series, and really, when Cloud9 Tempest can get Altec going, he can absolutely carry the team to victory. So today, he'll have a tough matchup as he has to go up against ROBERTxLEE.
Yeah, it's a team very much based around their AD carries. See how that bottom lane goes. So let's get ourselves through the starting lineups now. On the blue side for Game 1 and Game 3 is Cloud9 Tempest, Yazuki in the top lane, Kez in the jungle, Bischu in mid, Altec on AD carry, and Gleebglarbu on support.
And lining up on the red side for Game 1 of this semifinal matchup is CompLexity.Black. Top lane is Westrice, jungle is Brokenshard, mid is Prawley, AD carry ROBERTxLEE, and support is Bubbadub.
So these teams are actually going to be fairly interesting because I think they rightly deserve the second and third seed. They're the two of the other really big names behind LMQ. And again, we saw them both in the promo tournament. The funny thing is we actually might see both of their respective opponents as well in the promo tournament. Of course, we talked about CompLexity.Black. They fought EG. We know EG is the 7th seed. Former Walking Zed, Cloud9 Tempest, they might face Coast if they get picked up. Like, there's all these kind of little fun games where you can see history repeat itself.
Yeah, there's a really good chance that both these teams make it back in for their second go at the promotion tournament in a row. And really, if neither of these teams, or if either of these teams didn't make it, it would actually be a bit of an upset. They're both expecting to make it into the promotion tournament, maybe even the LCS. Yeah,
well, you will definitely see one of them. Only one team among the top 4 here is going to fail out there. Of course, the other semifinal being LMQ versus Curse Academy. So in this match specifically, though, there's a couple of things at hand that are kind of interesting to look for. So if we talk about what's different between them compared to when they were in the promo tournament. We've got a new AD carry, Altec, coming in. He replaced Bobby Hank Hill. Very good player overall. They actually kind of built the team around him. They tried a couple supports for who would match well with
Altec. And Altec was actually a very highly sought-after player in the Challenger Series. He was too young to join these teams beforehand, right?
Yeah, he's eligible now for the summer split, so he's turning 17. He's kind of like Pobelter of AD carry, where this is the year where he finally gets to show up.
He was even on a team with Pobelter once.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a bunch of players who had a bunch of potential, couldn't make LCS, now they're going to this time. So yeah, C9T spent some time funding support that worked with Altec. The team is very much based around him. He's a new addition. Now for CompLexity.Black, there we go. Probably, of course, has been in the roster the whole time. I believe they haven't had any roster swaps since that
but
match.
They have messed around a little bit with their roster because Brokenshard had to be out of the country for a fair while. He had to go, I think it was some visa issues that he had to deal with.
Yeah.
And now he's back. So they haven't necessarily been just grinding it out this entire time he's been gone, but they are back to their former selves, so to speak, and a little bit more experience this time around.
Yeah, and it's also fun to see how the teams stack up in terms of style differences, because on the one side, I feel like CompLexity.Black are actually very much based around Brokenshard. He's the early game shot caller. As a jungler, he makes a lot of early game plays. If you remember the Series 1 finals against LMQ, both games started out very well for CompLexity.Black because of early jungle invade.
Exactly.
Brokenshard actually got ahead of No Name in that series, but the rest of the team couldn't quite pull it together. The mid-game shot calling fell apart a little bit. Whereas on the other side, you've got Cloud9 Tempest, who are very much based around Altec, and because of that, are a late-game type team.
Yeah, and now we really have to think about how the 4.5 patch is going to impact those early jungle plays. Whether Brokenshard is going to try and be a carry in a sense, not through ganking, but through farming a little bit more.
Yeah.
Nocturne is potential for Kez to break out, even though he's mainly just an Evelynn and an Elise player in past. This patch is much better for something like Nocturne, which he used to play a lot of, or maybe even a Xin Zhao if he wants to match early jungling. But looks like junglers are getting picked right off the bat, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, pretty fast and furious ban phase. You figure when these teams come in, they know who they're fading against for a while. They've got like weeks to prepare at this point, and they just throw the bans in and out. And of course, the first pick, Kha'Zix, does come through here for Kez. Now, Yazuki has played it. I don't know if that's going to be necessarily the case here, if he's going to grab it, but
it's true.
There's a couple of contested picks on both these lineups.
There's a definite chance that he plays a Kha'Zix in the top lane, also because Westrice also shares a little bit of an offbeat champion pool in the top lane. When I see Westrice default in the top lane, it would be to a Renekton, which is very good against Kha'Zix.
Yeah.
And I would actually see Kha'Zix as more of a pick away from Brokenshard.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not necessarily one of Kez's specialties.
Yeah, so we'll see if he pans out well with it. Of course, Lucian does come through to ROBERTxLEE. Seems to be the most contested AD carry here with no bans. They grab that right off the bat. Multiple mid lane bans coming across, but it's the LeBlanc pick as well for Probably here on CLB. So, gotta say, 2 lanes set up pretty well for success.
Yeah, Probably when Ziggs is available, not very Probably-like. He almost always had picked Ziggs in the past when that was the situation, but I can see that. LeBlanc is absolutely an LCS-style mid laner in a sense, where you're amazing at executing. There's very little the enemy team can do about it.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something Probably's been putting a lot of time into.
Yeah, it seems to be the premier pick among mid laners here. I mean, Lulu actually not being grabbed just yet, not banned but not picked up.
Yeah.
In the European series, we saw it every game.
Yeah.
Here in North America, it seems a lot of people are kind of falling away from that one for now. It seems a 4.5 nerfs were enough to make them back off. Of course, Shyvana now grabbed up for Yazuki, so that is going to be the jungle Kha'Zix you identified. The support Karma also premier support pick.
A lot of speed coming in. I wonder if they'd be as bold as to pick Sivir as well and try and stack all that on top. Nope. They just locked in the Corki right away.
Immediately Corki. C9T know their picks right off the bat every single time.
Damn, they're fast with this.
Yeah, C9T have this all planned out. They know what they want to pick up. They're got their contested picks. Grab the Corki now for the rest of the lane. And of course, Lulu being grabbed is actually support Lulu here for Bubbadub.
Yeah. He's one of the few that still plays support Lulu.
You can't get it otherwise.
Jeez.
Mid laners be grabbing that.
Yeah, exactly.
And they get to pick first. They're above.
Yeah, exactly. Maxing Glitterlance for sure. Support Lulus were never ones to actually abuse the help picks double Glitterlance because they didn't have the mana pool for it, since they have to build all the support itemization and Sightstones.
Yeah.
So the support Lulu wasn't hit as hard as the mid Lulu. Therefore, can still work in there. It's very good against Shyvana in team fights as well.
Yeah.
I wonder for CompLexity.Black here, though, if they're bringing enough damage just overall.
Well.
And they just went, geez, with another single target. But that's going to be... Is that a...
I feel like that's top Warwick.
Yeah, it has to be.
I mean, I suppose we could see Feral Flare Warwick. You could get a lot of damage out of it with the ulti. You'd proc 5 times. You'd get all your health back, but...
It's definitely top lane, but that is a severe lacking in damage.
Yeah.
they're going to have to just... I feel like they have to destroy their lanes.
Can you grind out that team, though? Like, I forget if this is really like a standard comp anymore, but when people used to run bruiser heavy, especially in Season 2, when like Zillia mid was a thing, you'd grind out team fights.
Yeah.
You just survive longer than them, and eventually you have to win.
I mean, generally in those situations, you had a little bit of AoE damage, at least.
Yeah.
Warwick is all single target, Elise is all single target, LeBlanc. Maybe if you get a lucky distortion off, right? Like, they all have AoE spells, but they're primarily single target focused, and you compare it to the other side. With
Karma,
the Ziggs, Karma, Corki, Shyvana.
Yeah.
A lot of damage there coming out in team fights. I really feel like CompLexity.Black, they're picking to win lanes. That's about all they have going for them.
They're definitely going to try for that one.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see if it pays off, of course. I'm actually curious then on the thought, because CompLexity.Black, very bruiser heavy, right? A lot of tanky sort of guys. You've got Lulu to give more health. She just accentuates bruisers in general. I forget how the counter pick sort of went. AoE versus bruiser. Because bruisers are going to be stuck in AoE because they're all melee.
Exactly.
But I feel like they're tanky enough to survive, you know, a bunch of like Ziggs AoE, but I forget which way that matchup tended to sway.
Yeah, generally the like double AP AoE compositions would overtake the bruiser tank compositions.
Okay.
But this CompLexity.Black team isn't necessarily, in my opinion, a full bruiser composition. It's just a Warwick and an Elise, right?
Okay.
That's normally something you could see as a Shyvana Mundo would be like, that's a bruiser composition.
Okay.
These guys are, they're still pretty dashy in and out. I just feel like they're really overloading utility on this team.
Yeah.
With single target assassination. So they're absolutely going to have to go for a lot of picks. They're going to have to dominate the lane phase. They're going to have to control vision, because if they're ever forced into those straight up 5v5 situations, I feel like Cloud9 Tempest has a vastly superior teamfight composition.
Okay, we'll see if it gets to team fights then for Cloud9 Tempest. But we are on to the Rift, guys. Game 1 of potentially 3 here. The winner guarantees a spot in the LCS Summer Promotion Tournament.
Yeah.
Pretty big deal to win this BO3.
Yeah, it puts them in the finals as well for the whole Challenger season.
Yeah.
Really.
Bragging rights. Doesn't suck.
Monies.
Yeah, and think about it, if you consider the LCS teams that you might fight against as well, right? When you consider how the promo tournament is played, it's pick order based. So, of course, next weekend is the LCS playoffs for the spring playoffs. The 6th place team right now, of course, that's seeded as Coast, but it could be CLG, Dignitas, Curse, or Coast.
Anyone without a first round bye.
Yep. Any one of those 4, if you lose 2 BO3s, then you get first pick of the 3 teams that made it out of the LCS promotion tournament, or out of the 3 teams here that win.
Yes.
So CompLexity.Black,
those teams,
LMQ,
as much
First
as they're
Academy.
preparing for the playoffs, they're watching these too.
Yeah, it's important to watch.
Or they're having their analysts watch it to be like, who should we pick if we end up getting dropped down?
Yeah, and so you kind of look at that and you say, okay, and of course, the better you do, the stronger you look, the generally weaker of a team that picks you, right? If you're fighting the 6th place LCS team, they're arguably stronger than EG, who are arguably stronger than XDG, and you're like, well, the better we look, the easier our opponent is in 2 weeks or so when we actually fight for the promo tournament.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing to, of course, fight for as well.
No, I definitely like the format this year. I feel like the Challenger season is much more built out. You know, these teams are actually coming into this with a little bit of history. Yeah. You know, Cloud9 HyperX, Tempest, CompLexity.Black. These are all now known entities and known players. And heck, even ROBERTxLEE got called up to EG earlier on in the year, and then there's an outside chance he's going to try to knock him out of the LCS.
That's true, actually.
When he comes back to play him again. I mean, that's all really exciting.
Yeah, it's fun, actually. And even, I mean, you can consider the fact that maybe even Curse is the team that ends up 6th place. You've got Westrice, who used to be on that roster as well, way back in Season 2. We've got a couple of guys going in there. Of course, probably kind of back on the CompLexity roster as well. Maybe he'll get his... I mean, heck, CompLexity versus Cloud9 was actually the matchup that the LCS Cloud9 team, I mean, not these rosters, sure, but as far as organizations go, right? Cloud9 beat CompLexity to get their spot in the summer split last year. You've got an organizational rematch here, which is kind of fun. I like when that kind of stuff carries over and you've got the extra rivalries going on, and they just make it more fun. Yeah,
and obviously, Challenger teams have put some pretty good talent into the LCS. That was Cloud9.
It's true.
Spring great Challenger team making it into the summer of 2013, and then they went 25-3.
Yeah.
Right? The potential for that to happen is still there. I think people are more thinking that LMQ is hyped to do that.
Yeah.
Speaking with LCS teams, they think they're more middle of the pack LCS team, but honestly, we can't know until they're there.
True.
One thing that I think really helps having these games here right now is these guys are getting much more experience with which to help them in the promotion tournament.
Yeah.
I think one of the big things that hurt CompLexity.Black, even though they did have some stage experience when they played against EG in the spring. I guess it was the spring promotion
promo,
tournament that happened in December. We can call it the spring promo tournament.
Yeah.
That one, it did seem like they choked a little bit. They had a little bit of stage fright, and the longer they get to play these, the more high-pressure matches they get to have. They get to go to the Series 1 finals against LMQ. They get another experience on stage against a team that they're scared of.
Sure.
And now again here they have to play again in a high-pressure situation to qualify. Those add up, and the more high-pressure situations you play in, the lower pressure they become.
Yeah.
And I think that gives them a much better chance of making it to the LCS.
Yeah, and you see teams actually, teams and players actually specifically will do better and worse depending on the situations. There's some guys who actually excel in high pressure. EG was a situation like that, where actually I thought they did exceptionally well in the spring promo tournament. Like the day before they finally started winning scrims, the pressure was on, and they showed a great sort of set of results there when they 3-0'd CompLexity.Black way back then in spring promo. So yeah, the guys that get experience.
That was the experience.
Exactly. I mean, that's EG. These are guys, you know, formerly CLG Europe, right? 3 of them have been playing on
Season 2 World Championship.
Exactly. Top
third
4
place, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot of that going around as well. And so that's going to be kind of fun to see. And I'm glad that, you know, the challenger scene is here. It makes my job easier as a caster. I know when I'm casting like the round of 20, and I was like, I've got to like learn these new teams from EUS players I haven't, you know, unfortunately played with before because I'm playing in North America, but even some American players as well. It's like I've got to go learn all the champion pools. I see what they're playing in solo queue, talk to who I know, like knows these guys, and then as it kind of progresses, you're like, okay, yeah, I can see the tendencies. You know, I can. Oh, you know, Barney D, for example, plays hyper aggressive. Actually, the support of Reason Gaming. I was like watching him. I was like, okay, I can pick that player out, and I could sort of keep identifying throughout the game because you can follow these players now, and it's fun to watch. You can see the similarities sometimes teams have with their organizations. These similarities players have with other ones. What kind of styles they emulate, and that's always good to see.
Yeah, it's going to be about 2 or 3 minutes. Apparently, there's a peripheral issue coming in with one of these teams. That's why we're paused.
Yeah.
But to get back to your point of these guys kind of emulating sister organizations or parent organizations even, even though when we talk to the Cloud9 guys that are in the LCS, they don't necessarily have the closest relationship with Cloud9 Tempest.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that they still don't share some ties. Like the analyst works for both teams.
Yeah.
He helps out everyone. I noticed I was talking with Gleebglarbu yesterday. He was learning from Lemon Nation's support stream how to play Morgana.
That's good.
One of the pro tips was don't smart cast your Q. Actually normal cast it. It makes it easier while you're walking around to aim it and just put it through small minion paths.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily one of those spells you need to put out in a moment's notice with reaction time. It's more of a planning spell. And actually seeing the indicator helps Lemon Nation and as well Gleebglarbu.
Yeah, actually, it's funny because I know the Cloud9 Tempest and Cloud9 Eclipse actually do talk to each other a lot. They actually are very, they're actually very close, and they actually share a lot of information as well. A funny story I heard as well was that Voidal, the support of C9E, they don't let him play Morgana because he'll always max Tormented Soil.
Yeah,
and like stop it, Dark Bind. He's like, no, Tormented Soil's better. I like it. And it's like, okay, well,
I mean, theoretically, if you catch someone in the binding, you put the Tormented Soil under him.
It's a lot of damage. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're going to clear the minion wave. And
as all supports should, take all the minions.
Yeah.
Because AD carries don't really need gold. Just make him play Ash or Sivir and just hold him press R.
Yeah.
See how you like it.
They're a tank distractor.
Yes, they're a tank distractor for the support to do all the real work. I like that. I remember having a...
Not quite. AD carries are good.
Of course they are. They're exceptionally strong. Actually, I don't know if you read it. It got posted up a couple times. Reckless, the AD carry fanatic, he's like winning the All-Star vote and all that. Posted a sort of mini guide on like, hey, so with all the rune and mastery changes, here's the things that I'm doing. For those of you guys at home who haven't seen that actually, he says, you know, I'm running a mix of health and armor seals. Basically, the deal is that, like, health seals are the best all-in level 1 seal. Sometimes that's really important. Armor's still very good, though. And he says, I'm actually running 2 attack speed quints. With the buffs to attack speed quints, they're very effective. So I'm like attack damage marks, 1 attack damage quint, 2 attack speed quints. I've stopped running lifesteal. I'm just relying on Butcher and Potions and Doran's Blade.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, that's enough for me to sustain the lane, but I get so much damage that even if they do have lifesteal, I can just win trades and bully the lane.
Exactly.
And so he's like, actually completely changed the style. AD carries much less sustaining until they grab a Vamp Scepter, but kind of just delaying that life regen. Like,
I wonder, I mean, we're seeing all these guys come out with their initial theory craft now for the new runes.
Yeah.
There's, honestly, there's a lot of change, but also a small amount of change, right? Because, like, armor is theoretically less effective, but it's actually more armor than you used to have.
True.
Right? So runes overall just got buffed, mostly.
Yeah.
You can pick between health and armor.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys are opting for health. And the lifesteal got nerfed. Those are large picture. Scaling got a little better as well.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of large-scale implications that'll have as these guys narrow it down. Because when I looked at Reckless's post,
yeah,
that then said, He's dropping lifesteal.
Mm-hmm.
He is going more towards attack speed because he wants to get 2 auto attacks off in a trade if the other guy's going lifesteal. That was the trade-off.
Yeah.
Will that have a larger impact in bringing back sustain supports? Even just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I actually think it will.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've been seeing a small comeback of them anyway with the Doran Shields nerfs. Because early on in the season, it was like a Leona versus a Thresh. They'd start with the Doran Shield, and then the AD carries would go Lifesteal, Quince, Doran's Blade, and Rush of Amp Scepter.
Yeah.
And while that's still going to be true, the Doran's Blade, Doran's Shield, Vamp Scepter thing is just less effective without the Lifesteal Quince.
Yeah.
So therefore, Sona might make a comeback. The shielding supports. Karma is already making a resurgence, trying to reactively shield those trades. It works very well. Jan is an outside chance. Nami does have sustain aspects.
Yeah.
I think all those things are actually going to slowly find their way in if every AD carry goes back to attack speed.
Yeah, and there's actually a lot of ways that that's going to snowball on itself. So just so you guys know for what's going on, unfortunately our first fix didn't work, so we're still resolving the issue. We're in the middle of Game 1, for those of you just joining us, between CompLexity.Black and Cloud9 Tempest.
Is a bit of an overstatement.
Yeah.
We're in the level 1.
We're in the beginning.
Game.
Champs looked over. The champs are chilling out in the map right now, but it's a gray screen. It's kind of like they're all dead, but it's not really. So to continue your point, I think there's a lot of ways this can transition. So there's a couple of different points. So one is like people are running more attack speed. Well, this means champions like Vayne and Kog'Maw, who specifically want to auto-attack a lot, that's their main source of damage, get a bit stronger.
True.
Because they're attacking a bit faster by the general rune page rule. The loss of lifesteal doesn't exist as much, so like they can run lifesteal or attack speed safely and get more off by Arcane Barrage or whatnot. I think if sustain supports come back, we actually might see AD carries go back to Infinity Edge. That used to be one of the big things, is you could go for Bloodthirster Rush. You could also go early Infinity Edge. And if you do, for example, Eye Edge, Last Whisper, Phantom Dancer, your DPS is way higher.
Yeah, like if you went with you're saying if you went like a max heal Sona or something.
Yeah. Or just enough sustain to not lose lane.
Like a double Doran's Blade and Infinity Edge instead of going Vamp Scepter.
Yes, like
that was a thing a little while back.
Exactly. It was like double Dorans, even single Dorans, if you can hack it. That's hard, but you can, right, if they're playing a more defensive support or something. But yeah, if you go like Eye Edge, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, your damage is much higher per auto attack than Bloodthirster, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper. It's like 30% more damage, something like that, for the same amount of gold.
Per auto attack.
Yeah.
You're doing overtime and factoring in crits and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, if you're only using Graves Qs, obviously BT is better, but generally speaking, yeah, you have that sort of rule. So if you can get out of the laning phase and you can buy the same sort of gear and whatnot and kind of transition, you're going to have a much more strong mid-game AD carry. The 3-item AD carry is much stronger than your opponent's 3-item AD carry. That can factor in very heavily. That can actually be a very big deal. So that's one thought I had. The other one is because people are now running more health, less armor, a champ like Graves is now more effective. Because he's already getting a bunch of extra armor and MR.
Yes.
So if everyone just has 100 more health, Graves is even taller. Graves is now even harder to burst out. He's running health per level. He's like maybe now he's outside of LeBlanc burst range because he's got the extra Graves passive stats. And talking to some members of Team Coast, they're saying Graves is actually on his way back up. He's saying that a lot of people are starting to pick up him because
he got a little bit of extra damage on his execute too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, or his execute. It's not an execute. His ultimate, which is oftentimes best used as an execute after you get out of auto attacker. Yeah, I'd agree with a lot of those things that you're saying there.
Yeah.
General versatility and tankiness of fights, even the double heal in the 4.5 patch, I think has huge implications.
Yeah.
If you're just looking at the number of shields and heals that can exist in a game now, even if you don't have super shield and heal supports, it's ridiculous when these pro teams are able to use it all expertly, right? Because you're thinking late game, heal. It's 400 to 500 health on one person.
Yeah.
And it removes healing debuffs. Mikhail's. Also around 400.
Yep.
Right? If you're a tankier support, like a Leona, you're going to have a Face of the Mountain. That can also shield for 300 to 400.
Yeah.
We're already speaking 1,200 healing and shields, and that's not even factoring Locket of the Iron Solari, the actual spells you have to shield or heal. You can do absurd amounts of things now to just keep single targets alive, which could absolutely harm a lot of these assassin players, because it's not just the guy with barrier that can prevent a LeBlanc or a Zedburst now.
Yeah.
If someone's near him with a heal and they catch it at some point during the spike of damage, they can save him as well.
Absolutely. And there's other ramifications as well. You've got guys like Dr. Mundo who can remove their own healing debuffs. So while Cleanse will remove the damage from Ignite, the healing debuff stays on. Summoner Heal actually leaves the DOT from Ignite on, the damage debuff, but will remove the healing cut. So if you self-heals Mundo and if your ult's pushing through, then you can get more sustain back as well. So sometimes we actually saw a couple Mundo bans come in during yesterday's
teleport
games.
Mundo.
Yeah, heal teleport Mundo is kind of the big one that people are thinking about a little bit. But it helps any of these guys who are healing a little bit as well. As an AD carry player, heal is fun. It's probably a bit strong.
I would say it's overtuned.
It basically beats out barrier in most cases, so you run it all the time. But it's cool that you can like make these plays. You're like, my Wukong's trying to catch in. I'll just heal you to get you in range of your ultimate.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost a waste of the cooldown.
It's like a multi-use spell.
But yeah, it goes
as long as you're a little bit low on health and you're expecting a team fight to come in, it's not the worst use to heal early.
Yeah.
Right? Because the health stays, unlike a barrier.
True. And actually there's these really, really small incremental advantages that happen if you do like barrier or heal early. You've got champions that do more when you're below half. So one is the mastery that every offensive champion takes, which is if you're below 50% health, you take 3%, 5% more damage.
I think it's 5.
I think it's 5% more damage. Yeah. So there's that one. I think it's Executioner, I think is the name of the mastery.
I believe you're
about 12 points in. So if you stay above half for longer, you actually take 5% less damage. Champions like Zed with his passive, if you're below half, will hit you for a chunk of your health. And there's oftentimes like preemptive barrier, preemptive heal, just in the general sense, not even in 4.5, but like is worth picking up in order to not allow this to happen. If you fight a Morellonomicon, again, I think if you're below 40%, it'll trigger on you. So if you're like Swain and you're like fighting a Ziggs with Morellonomicon for whatever reason, barriering or healing early will actually help you from losing your healing debuffs as well and whatnot. Like there's all these like little things that actually come into play that sometimes matter instead of doing the standard barrier baiting.
Exactly. And just as we continue to wait for these guys to hopefully fix their issues, we're going to keep talking about runes and bottom lanes and stuff.
Because they're fun.
Because I want to keep talking about this, actually.
Okay.
I'm going back to sustain supports.
Okay.
As we're talking about kind of small things having overreaching implications.
Yeah.
One of the big reasons that I think things like Sona or Soraka aren't seen as supports currently is because the kill supports are so damn good at killing you.
Yeah, they are.
Or at least they had been.
Yeah.
Right? But now, not only are people bringing more health, slightly more defensive runes, that's a small burst, but I also feel like if you're running a double heal lane, you're no longer bringing your Ignite.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are going heal exhaust or double heal.
Yeah.
That brings down the overall kill pressure greatly, which therefore relatively increases the value of sustain.
True.
Once again.
Yeah.
So I actually do think bottom lane is going to be a slightly less aggressive place. The level 2 all-ins won't be as deadly as they have been. And I think it opens the door for the squishy supports to come back a little bit.
Zyra comes back, spams some plants. I was wondering if she would show up because, to my understanding, her plants do trigger like Frostfang and stuff.
Yeah.
That they'll trigger Spellbound, they'll trigger Riley's, they'll trigger Frostfang. So it's like super easy for Zyra to get gold. Like probably easier than Morgana and probably with more damage. I think Dark Bonding versus the Grasp Root, similarly difficult to land, although Binding lasts longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got the same kind of poke, probably better poke with the plants coming out there. I mean, Zyra was super popular in the end of Season 3 and was one of my favorite supports to both play with and play as. And yeah, if you're not going to get one shot by a Leona anymore, and Zyra Leona can be really rough, you get one shot, you're like, well, double summoner heal, going to be okay.
Maybe we live.
Yeah.
Maybe you get trapped in all the plants.
Yeah, and then you trap her in the plants
Maybe
and kill
you
her
turn
back.
it around.
Yeah.
Right? All those things are potential possibilities. But in this game that we're going to be having, not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, the other one as well, we haven't touched on it very much. You said the name, we didn't talk about it much. Summoner Exhaust.
Yes.
Because Exhaust is actually probably the best anti-assassin spell now. It got retooled a bit. Its movement speed slow is less, but actually as an AD carry as well, it's a 50% damage cut. If Zed ults you and you exhaust him, you are not going to probably get one shot by him anymore.
Yeah. Not going to probably. So maybe
probably not
because he does so much. It depends how fed he is.
He could bring his own QSS. He could bring his own cleanse. Like there could be this weird meta game around mid lane.
A lot of the LCS AD carries are bringing exhaust now.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you say, okay, well, my team can peel the bruisers, all I care about is LeBlanc going in. The range on the spell is enough that you can actually catch LeBlanc before she lands her first set of spells on you, and it's instant cast as well, so it's not like you're travel timing or anything.
Yep.
And yeah, the damage goes down by half. You're gonna have a much better time of actually surviving that sort of situation. You get to still be Vayne or something and not have to worry for your life nearly as much. And suddenly you've got another wealth of opportunities available to you. Your support, if they wanted to, could still bring Summoner Heal or exhaust someone else. Like there's all other kinds of combinations. And then again, as I was talking about, there could be the meta game around, do mid laners bring cleanse because exhaust is so common? It used to be you'd bring cleanse if there was like an Ashe in your lane or a Leona and you were worried about all-ins. But now it's like, well,
be able to worry about late game.
Yeah, like maybe I bring exhaust, or maybe I bring cleanse because someone's exhausting me and I'm a damage.
The thing is,
source.
though, I feel like pro players have gotten so good that Mikhail's is your cleanse replacement.
Yeah,
support brings cleanse your.
Yeah, but that
doesn't get
remove
suppression.
Exhaust either. It would remove the.
No, it doesn't. You're right. It doesn't remove exhaust from the AD carry. But at the same time, late game, your AD carry is most likely not getting exhausted.
True.
It's going to be the assassin that goes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting to think about for sure.
Could be interesting. Yeah, I do want to see what kind of mind games end up coming through with all the item pickups.
Yeah.
So, guys, of course, since we're still sorting through those pause, we do want to actually introduce a new friend of the desk. Voyboy of Curse is here to hang out with us. We were going to have you do some post-game analysis, but figure, how about some post-pre-game analysis?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right. So we already talked about Cloud9, Tempest, and
CompLexity.Black.
CompLexity.Black. Unfortunately, Voyboy, we don't have easy access for your team compositions, but what do you remember? Because there was a heavily single-target team composition. Warwick, Elise, LeBlanc, Lucian, and Lulu.
Lulu, yep.
Had it.
That was the one.
Versus a heavy AoE composition on the other side.
Yep, they had
Ziggs,
Shyvana, Kha'Zix, Ziggs.
Shyvana, Kha'Zix,
Karma Corki.
So they had like 4 AoE champions and Kha'Zix, which is pretty ideal for the Kha'Zix because when you play Kha'Zix jungle or even like when you used to play mid, you really want to have a lot of AoE and CC setup from your team so you can get everyone low, and then the Kha'Zix can just go in and try to clean up. And I think that's probably why the CompLexity.Black picked up Lulu, because even though Lulu got nerfed as a support, her base numbers and all that were hit pretty heavily. Not only is it like one above us comfort champions, but you can whimsy the Kha'Zix when he comes in to try to deny him the resets, and that kind of seeks to undermine the whole point of the team comp, which is really just to get the Kha'Zix going in the fights. But I think that, honestly, team comps are pretty interesting. CompLexity.Black has like really heavy pick. If they get like one person isolated, they can just like Warwick ulti, like Elisa Kun LeBlanc combo and just like pop him. And then you have like the Karma Corki lane, which Cloud9 made pretty popular recently. And I'm actually really interested to see how that does.
So how do you play out these sort of single target fantasies where it's like, we can't just like show up for Dragon and team fight you? Like, that's easy, but you're never going to win those probably being so single target focused. How do you set up all these like, go pick that guy off?
Yeah, so CompLexity.Black's team comp, it's not going to be as good in a straight 5v5 team fight for the most part. And the way you really want to play the team combat is to try to establish vision control and try to deny the enemy vision, because really pick comps excel when you have the upper hand in terms of map control, because if people ever want to try to contest an objective or like even walk into a brush, if you don't have a complete idea of what's happening in that brush, they could be like a Warwick and a LeBlanc there just to kill you. And if they kill you right off that, they can look to force Baron, and with like pretty low cooldowns on a lot of their CC, they can just like look to pick the next person that comes in, and you can get in a pattern where Cloud9 Tempest is just always scared to do anything, and even though they have the stronger team fight, they can't effectively get in a position where they can force those fights if they've lost vision control.
And it's like a 4v5 chain. Every time one person gets picked off, they gain more again and again.
Yep, pretty much.
Speaking of, though, the top lane matchup, or even the mid lane, let's do the mid lane matchup.
Okay.
LeBlanc versus Ziggs. You are a mid laner now. I still remember you as a top laner because you played it for so long. But
still know a little thing or two about both.
Yeah, well, maybe we can do both. Depends how long
go.
this delay ends up going on for. Let's start with LeBlanc versus Ziggs.
All right, so LeBlanc versus Ziggs. Ziggs was actually slightly nerfed in the last patch. His auto attack range was reduced by 25, so he has effectively 550 auto attack range now, which was pretty interesting because that was one of the most unique aspects about Ziggs' kit, is that he had pretty much the highest auto attack range of any mid laner that was played commonly, and that gave him a lot of really nice opportunities to combos, harass his auto attacks. Every time the enemy mid laner would go up to CS or something, he'd have effectively usually a 25 auto attack range advantage. So in the LeBlanc versus Ziggs matchup, a lot of your early game pressure, and not only LeBlanc versus Ziggs, but Ziggs versus a lot of matchups, he would get a lot of damage off just from weaving those auto attacks in between his combos. And now that you lost 25 range, you actually have to get that much closer to get those autos off. So I think it was actually a pretty big hit to his laning phase. Ziggs early game should usually be able to pressure LeBlanc in. Pre-6, Ziggs does have the advantage, and if a jungler gank comes in or something like that and LeBlanc can land a chain, it's pretty wonky because Ziggs is usually going to try to satchel himself out.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, even though you satchel yourself, if the chain like doesn't break, you could just end up dying, and I've seen that happen quite often. But yeah, Ziggs should be able to pressure LeBlanc in a 1v1. It's actually pretty reduced after the Ziggs nerf, but I think the same. It should probably play out similarly.
Yeah, because it's really interesting since probably was the Ziggs main, and now he's going up against Ziggs with LeBlanc.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was listening to my headset. So then actually transition then to the top lane matchup then. Shyvana versus Warwick here. I think both ran teleport as well. How's that one go? I feel like if Warwick doesn't run out of mana, he should be okay.
Yeah, so obviously both top laners running TP. TP is really strong summer spell. Heal and exhaust were buffed pretty significantly, but I think for top laners, you can almost never go wrong running TP. It just gives you so much control. And if the other top laner runs TP and you don't, you're going to be at a pretty severe disadvantage because you could just fall behind in like one shopping, lose a tempo, and then like suddenly the waves push to your turret, the enemy team's forcing dragon, like, and they have like a TP that they can always use to make that dragon fight a 4v5 or whatever. So teleport just brings a lot of team utility and a lot of personal safety in lane actually too, because all you really need to do to secure a safe laning phase with TP versus someone with like a different summoner spell is to just push out a few early waves, go back, TP back to lane. Your TP's on a pretty reduced cooldown, so it'll be up usually for the next objective, and then you can have like an item advantage. And if the enemy top laner isn't like ready to shop, they either have to call their jungler to hold the lane, which reduces map pressure for everyone else, or they just have to lose out on a lot of CS and EXP.
Yeah.
And so with both top laners taking TP, it's pretty even in that regard. I've actually haven't seen Warwick in a while. There was a period where everyone was playing him for
the Darien period.
Yeah, exactly, for a few weeks, and then he just kind of got dropped. Almost similarly to Mundo, but I guess both top laners are kind of slightly making a comeback now too. Shyvana should be able to pressure the Warwick in early game. I think actually with the item changes, with Glacial Shroud's price getting reduced, which I think was a pretty popular Warwick item because it gives you mana, CDR, and armor, all stats that you need. I think we might see an early one of those coming out from Westrice because it actually got reduced by 400 gold, which is pretty significant. You can have a very early Glacial Shroud now, and you can obviously transition that into a late game Frozen Heart or Frozen Fist if you're feeling a little bit quirky. But I think that the lane should be pretty even. Both top laners are probably just going to be looking to farm. I think with the Elise pressure, Shyvana's going to have to be a little bit careful with how much he pushes, but honestly, I don't think it's going to be great kill potential because Warwick pre-6 brings almost nothing to the table. He'll like Q you and like run around in circles, but that's pretty much it.
I do want to touch back on your summoner spell example really quickly, though, because this is more of an overall question for the state of the game. Throughout time in League of Legends, there's always been this balance between when you bring teleport and when you don't. And your current example is you use the teleport to pressure dragon and get back to lane more safely. But previously, a lot of people say the combat summoner is too much to bully you out early on in the lane. Is it just the recent buffs to teleport that you think have pushed it over the edge? And why does it go back and forth so frequently?
I actually have always valued TP really highly, probably more than other people, because I always thought that the team utility that I brought in competitive 5v5 was really easy to use. There's just so much that goes on. Like, for example, when you play against a Shen, you always have to think like, okay, he has the ultimate, like the global can come in at any time and he can ruin the play. So it just forces people to play safer, to play smarter. And like, for example, in bot lane fights, a lot of times, if you have teleport and the enemy top laner doesn't, if all it really takes is your bot lane to get like a deep ward in their brush, and you can always TP in and counter any play that's made. And that really changes the dynamic of the game. People are going to be playing scared. They're not going to want to look for those risky all-ins, and they're just going to be playing safe. And then not to mention all the other advantages that TP brings you. Obviously, you're going to be losing out on that combat effectiveness. If you're going for a 1v1 duel to the death, the person with Ignite's usually going to have the advantage, obviously depending on champion choices. But I definitely think that, at least for top laners, the trade-off from taking a combat spell versus TP now is definitely diminished with the teleport buff. So it's not surprising at all to see people just picking up TP very frequently.
All right, well, Voyboy, actually, thank you very much. We actually have completed our basically required pause timer here. We're going to get the game remade here. It's actually loading up in the background. So, Voy, thank you very much for your time. Of course, we'll see you after each game.
Definitely talk to you later.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So the game is loading up. We're going to be there in just a second. About 30 seconds is the word in my ears right here. They're the real voices in my head.
If it's not true, don't blame us.
Yeah, just blame me.
It's not our fault. No. And the game has been completely remade. We're running out of the fountain once again.
Yeah.
Game on. Game one.
Game on. Same picks. Everything's going to be standard. The rules on Remix, I believe it wasn't game of record, but even if it was, I think
all that has to happen in order for it to be game of record is someone has to see someone else.
Yeah.
So that actually may have happened. We were about 45 seconds in. But even not, we're here now.
Yeah. Players opted in at the very least to play the same game. So here we go. Cloud9 Tempest camping now at their own blue buff, and
this is fun.
Just for fun, decided to pause the game.
But Voyboy's gone. I want to talk to him.
He's disappeared. He's a magician.
I wanted to ask him what he thought about junglers.
It's going to be a 30-second pause. Apparently, it's going to be real quick. Just like a reconnect, and we're fine.
That's what we said last time, Freak.
We said 2 to 3 minutes last time.
Okay.
Which means that instead of 20 minutes, it'll be 2 minutes, and then we'll just keep the multiplication going and it'll be okay. Yeah, well, he was LeBlanc. It was Deception. There was a clone. It timed out.
Yeah.
Something explanation mid laner. That was why.
Anyway, LeBlanc, Ziggs.
Yeah.
Warwick, Shyvana.
Yeah.
We got Elise, Kha'Zix. It's really funny actually how Cloud9 Tempest has really taken 2 of CompLexity.Black's best champions away.
Yeah.
Ziggs and Kha'Zix are CompLexity.Black picks and have been for quite some time.
To be fair, he did opt in the LeBlanc really early on. They didn't think he'd get it.
The thing is they didn't really take them away so much as they just picked other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Kha'Zix first pick, I think, threw them for a loop because we know Kha'Zix is like this heavily contested first pick. It's a big jungle setup right there, and they're like, you know what? No, we'd rather ban the Evelynn. If you play Kha'Zix, no big deal, right? Wanted to remove that champion away from Kez instead. That was the CompLexity.Black lineup thought. But we are into the game, and honestly, yeah, C9T, I feel like they got a lot of champions they know very, very well. So I think they've done a very successful champ select. CompLexity.Black, they've always been a lineup, I feel like, that throws out weird things. I remember when they were playing, I think it was the promo tournament, actually. Westrice and Arthalon switched lanes. And they had Arthalon playing Mundo top. Westrice brought Kha'Zix mid.
They used to do lane swaps all the time. I remember Arthalon's mid lane AP Elise.
Yep.
That was one of the oldies.
It was fun. Unfortunately, that one did not actually become super common. I remember when mid lane Lulu was the rare pick. Zamfir brought that one out. But now everyone just plays it, so it's not even nearly as special. So let's see. CompLexity.Black going to take their time. Minute 30 in, minions have spawned. So soon we're going to see the top laners potentially teleport to their own lanes. And because the setup's here, I guess we're going to have a 2-on-2 top.
Yeah, so maybe these teams are not just saying one team has to 2v1. They're just predicting where the other team's going to fly off to. Or will they actually just run in? There's only 4 CompLexity.Black people here, but 5 Cloud9 Tempest. This could be really bad.
Oh, Q comes across, lots of AoE comes in, the flashes as well. Who's going to get out of this one? Summoner heals used for a bit of movement speed. Another flash coming in, Kez nearly in range. ROBERTxLEE, 1 hit from dead, down he goes, first blood to C9T. Now Westrice also under fire, 1 more shot to go. The Q comes across, the flash from Kez slows down Probably 2 kills C9T.
Wow, so just a huge smattering of spells used right as the minions spawn too, which makes it even more punishing. Right there, the CompLexity.Black fell because they will not be able to just go to their lanes immediately and get experience. So not only are they down on gold, they're heavily down on experience.
They're going to be down in some of the jungle as well. Kez going to get himself level 2 off the red buff. And he's going to back off without clearing the camp as well. So Brokenshard at his own buff, starting up with the golem. Not a huge problem for him, but you can see he's about a camp behind. And we'll see if there's going to be any other buff trades. Probably props to passive. And actually, CLB off the death move their lanes around. They do look to 2v1 against Yazuki.
Yeah, well, Warwick with the teleport. Yazuki with the teleport as well. Westrice still not really doing much. You can see the Brokenshard and Westrice are maybe hoping to enact the buddy system here. It's what they call when... most teams, when they 3v1, they get the jungler level 3, and their top laner will jungle himself and then just go to his lane later. What CompLexity.Black likes to do, and what they did when they took an inhibitor turret at 4 minutes against CompLexity Red, is they buddy up with the top laner of the jungle, make sure they both hit level 2, and then go to lane with 4 people. However, we're almost 4 minutes in now, and they haven't even completed the buddy system, because they were heavily set back by those early deaths. Plus, Westrice isn't even level 2 yet.
Well, the friendship is now going to start. There it is. Gets a couple of minions, and there's the cannon wave. CompLexity.Black showing up there for this one. And yeah, Yazuki's going to make his way elsewhere on the map.
He teleported top to help with the push.
Yeah, so both teams going to run the 4-man there. Top lane turret's already going to go down, so C9T, despite the more durable turret, take that one out. Of course, the Warwick W will help CLB keep this push going, but so far 1-for-1 turret, the second one going to be soon.
The Warwick actually works incredibly well in this format.
Yeah.
Roof attack speed from that W is massive. Plus
Probably ignite on the Bischu. Barrier popped as well. Probably forced a disengage. He's a couple hits from dead, though. This is going to be an important fight. Flashes the Q! So, Bischu!
Under 10 health.
Wow.
Just regenerating up now.
Oh my gosh, such a close fight. But Bischu gets it. Second tier turrets under fire. These are going to be actually pretty much equalized here, slightly to C9T. But the push continues.
They both decide to stop after 2.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of recalls back.
Yeah, let's take another look at this one just to see how close
he's down a level.
Trades were. Yeah, he was down a level. That's because of the first blood action. Shows you how strong he could have been. Does end up staying in. He tries to flash in over the bomb, which was really nice. but he just miscalculated his auto attack damage. He thought that next auto was going to kill him. It didn't, and he ended up losing the trade.
Well, there you go. Gonna see, actually. So, Bischu, I'm gonna check his armor real quick just to be curious. Only 25 armor on Ziggs, meaning he didn't run armor seals. That was just health.
Yeah. But a lot of magic resist, so
oh, sure.
I think in the overall trades he was a little bit healthier. This is an early Dragon take. Cloud9 Tempest is coming down here. CompLexity.Black got to be real careful not to tilt this game.
Well, in comes Kez, who's got the smite. It's going to be red team picking up Dragon. Well done there to Brokenshard, but he's got nowhere to go. Kill pick up for C9T. By that trade of a Dragon.
4 kills already for Cloud9 Tempest. Now remember, the first blood happened so early, it's not full value.
Yeah.
60% of the total value for kills before 2 minutes, and then it scales up to full value between 2 and 4 minutes. So the kills now are absolutely full value. Getting the Dragon for 1 kill, considering they're already down kills, is not bad.
Oh, wow.
That was the 5th kill.
Yep.
Not sure how that one happened. Kez is going to be a very scary man.
Yeah, he's got Spirit Sword and a Longsword before 6 minutes into this game. Definitely a great start for himself. The top lane is fun to watch as well because Yazuki is actually staying up there against Westrice. Happy to play hyper-aggressive, super far in, and he's not worried about the Elise ganks. Actually, Brokenshard might get spotted out by Kez here.
Oh dear. Oh dear. They've lost complete control of the map here.
Running out of health, pops the repel. Has nowhere to go. Bomb's going to land. Nice heal comes in. He's going to stay alive for now. Kez, low on health. The re-engage comes in. Probably helping his team. ROBERTxLEE picks up the kill. CLB turned that one around.
And so necessary right there. Kez definitely should not have leaped onto the spider there, where he thought it was coming down. That's the big disadvantage that they're holding. It's still a 1,000 gold differential, which isn't that much when you consider what's happened. Yeah,
a 4-kill deficit. Honestly, Minions, I'm looking at it, and Minions actually are pretty far apart, actually. Look at freaking what Altec's got right there. 52 to the 24 of ROBERTxLEE's Lucian. I gotta say, that's a very scary Corki in the near future.
Yeah, and we said in our pregame, which was so long ago at this point, but when Cloud9 Tempest can get Altec going, it is a big problem for the other team. They haven't even really had to try. He's just had the freedom of farming this game, and he's taken full advantage of it.
You're going to see there's the 2-on-2. No, the 3-on-2. Kez showing up as
he's
well.
Level 6.
Yeah, right. ROBERTxLEE forced to run away. The dash comes in. The Valkyrie for Ziggs bomb as well. Will they get much more damage? Gleeb now stuck, or sorry, Bubbadub
the root
in the wrong spot. Root comes through. Gleebglarbu picks up the kill for this one. C9T now 6-1.
This could just be a classic snowball game right here. Team composition-wise, Cloud9 Tempest, we know they're stronger in 5v5 scenarios. And we know CompLexity.Black's team composition was all about gaining map control, getting an edge, never letting Cloud9 Tempest set up for team fights. But because CompLexity.Black has lost so much pressure already, it's actually Cloud9 Tempest that's playing the pick game with an AoE team composition.
True.
So there's really not much CompLexity.Black can fight back with outside of catching Cloud9 Tempest making mistakes.
Well, they're going to look for this blue buff right here. I mean, last time this side of the jungle got invaded, it did turn into a kill for CompLexity.Black, but you're seeing Kez try this one. Probably still around Bubbadub as well. Looks like Minions going down. I want to see who ends up getting this blue buff because Kez not wanting to give this one away. Pink ward comes down just to reveal a bit more of the map.
Kez being level 4 is the one weakness of Cloud9 Tempest right now.
But CompLexity.Black did pull it into the brush, and here comes a flash in. Westrice finds a stun. Bischu taking a whole bunch of punishment, does get taken down. The Warwick Roam works for him. Altec now the one getting attacked, going to jump over the wall pretty safely. Westrice no ulti, not much mana either. CompLexity.Black, they find another kill.
And they could never get the blood scent on.
Chain, but the cocoon's going to land. Kez has nowhere to go. 2 kills CompLexity.Black off that jungle invade.
Well, they do have a very utility and single target heavy team right there. So when they could force the 5v4, the flash ultimate from Westrice did give him a little bit of an edge, but now the question is how much is that sacrifice? How much farm does that give back to Yazuki, and how much did they really take off that? Still 1,500 gold down, but that's a positive move. CompLexity.Black needs more of that. See if they can find any more. The Warwick ultimate more than halfway back up, so maybe they'll find that one soon again. We'll see if Distortion comes in for Westrice as well. Reduce that flash, that TP cooldown. We'll see what happens overall. Probably actually right now holding the mid lane with Bubbadub. They're leaving actually solo lane farm to ROBERTxLEE. You mentioned that level lead that Altec had a little while ago. Nice burst comes through as well. But they're letting that Lucian get some levels to get the culling, to get some more of his combat stats. Looks like both AD carries are doing the Bloodthirster rush. Except there's a BF sword on one guy. Just a Vamp Scepter on the other.
Yeah.
Altec going to continue to try and bully him out. Just a couple rockets.
But you can see it's pretty easy for the Corky Burst to come through. Robert doing the best he can to make the trades, but Zerk Greaves don't work very much in burst scenarios. He can do what he can with the ultimate. He actually, last time he got sent back, had picked those up. See now the push still coming through the mid lane for Prolly. He'll do what he can with this one. Bischu, though, with the blue buff, to keep in mind with that last invade, it actually did force CompLexity.Black to pick up blue buff on a Brokenshard. He had to secure that one himself, so Prolly, running out of mana here, did pick up an early flask for his lane.
Yeah, I mean, Brokenshard's items is pretty much comparable with what Kez has done. Kez's Kha'Zix has been the least impressive part of this Cloud9 Tempest team. 2, 2, and 3, but only 19 CS.
Yeah. Well, think back to the pick and ban phase. Right? They left the first pick Kha'Zix open, banning only the Evelynn.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe that did work out here for CompLexity.Black. We'll see what Kez can do with the rest of this game. Still, he's got money. He's got a Lizard Elder to the Golem Spirit of Brokenshard. We'll see how these junglers match up. But they're on equal item tiers right now due to the farm advantage. We'll see 1,600 separates these guys, and still, actually more lane rotations. CompLexity.Black putting their AD carry back into the mid lane now, holding that one. Probably starting to roam around. Early sweeper, 3 sweepers already for CLB. 2 for Cloud9 Tempest. A couple of pink wards added to the inventories of various members. Westrice also adding just an early tanky build, so not going...
Yeah, not going for that Glacial Shroud.
Oh my gosh, the damage in the mid lane though, Prolly finding the roam. Taking the kill down.
Yeah, I mean...
Mid-game's going well.
Honestly, Kez's presence has been diminished right here, and the kill for... That timing for the kill could not be better. Ziggs is the main threat when trying to zone away from the Dragon area, and this is the type of 1v1s they want to be getting. Kez having to blow his ultimate before even going in for the Dragon here. Altec gonna try to do it himself.
Here comes the teleport as well. It's gonna be the disengage. CLB have to give away the Dragon, and look at this. Nice re-engage. Cloud9 Tempest showing no fear. Take the Dragon for themselves.
The teleport by Yazuki is, in the end, what sealed it.
Yep.
So the previous fight was won because Westrice could teleport down, but this Dragon was won because Yazuki could teleport down, and that was huge.
Wow, flash forced away. Gleebglarbu nearly getting taken down on that one. Does get himself the safety for this one, though. Yazuki's still going to just clear away waves in the mid lane. The top lane, of course, already got pushed in. So it's going to be a bit of defense coming in for Westrice to hold that turret. Now the global objectives are off the map, and keep in mind C9T has already taken the outer turret in the bottom lane, so it's going to be Altec just shoving that one in, but just some quick, easy turret defense. No other objectives really on the map right now.
Yeah, so 2,000 gold lead, holding pretty strong for Cloud9 Tempest, but they're definitely not doing that much to close this. I'd say CompLexity.Black actually haven't lost their heads after that disastrous early game.
Yeah.
This game started 5 kills to 0 about 5 or 6 minutes in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is just absurd.
Well, so far, it's going to look at what's equalized so far. Top laners, pretty much the same situation. Upgraded boots, starting their major builds. Tank versus early Cutlass here. Jungler still on actually fairly equal footing as well, despite kills on one side, farm on the other. Just the general jungle spirits. Mid laners, I still got to say, a big lead right now to Bischu. Even though Prolly has finished, you know, getting a kill in mid lane once in a while, I just got to say that Ziggs is massive. As long as he's got his barrier, he'll probably be safe. But probably just sweeping away some wards, trying to still make plays on that LeBlanc. DFG LeBlanc, also to point out.
I mean, most likely.
Yeah.
We started named the two large.
I usually don't see Death Cap.
You don't see Death Cap Rush. DFG, especially for the type of play they're trying to make, which is to single out an individual target. The DFG is the play for Prolly. He wants to be able to control Bischu out of the lane and then make plays off of that. If they cannot get control of individuals, then they will never be able to get control of the game.
We'll see what the next individual play is going to be. Teleport is up for Westrice, but not for Yazuki. Though the timing is going to be such that teleport will be up with a minute to spare for the next Dragon respawn. So that could be something that Cloud9 Tempest is happy to wait for. We did say they're a team that, generally speaking, likes to play for the late game. They've got an AD carry with Bloodthirster and the beginnings of Phage.
Yep.
Although I got to point out, for CLB, ROBERTxLEE has gotten pretty much all the kills on his team. So he's actually completely keeping pace with Altec right now.
Yeah. Definitely item-wise. 10 gold off.
10 gold. I was
He's
so
actually
close.
ahead of him.
He's ahead. There we go. ROBERTxLEE going to fight the top laner here, who has not added much armor to the arsenal here. So,
and if you would,
being okay.
if you would want an AD carry fed, you'd want a support to be loot as well.
Yeah.
The potential protection for ROBERTxLEE is great, but I still don't think they're going to be highly threatening in team fights. They have to get the pick kills Like this one.
Ulti comes in, big damage on Yazuki, takes the Dragon Form, flashes,
man.
and gets himself out of range, but Westrice.
Blood scent.
Cutlass slow. Blood scent still there. Here comes Gleeb, though. Q comes off, Westrice gets the kill, but he's got to run now. Here comes Kez, here comes Bischu. Good amount of damage comes in as well, and Westrice will fall. Trading the kill for that one. Top lane didn't go down or anything. Brokenshard's got to be a little bit afraid of Altec. Goes in for the fight, but Bloodthirster Corki is a scary force right here. Brokenshard not quite going to take the missile, still running backwards. If that R had hit, Altec could have all-in that.
Nice little trade there by Altec. It burns his entire mana pool, but there was so many people committed up in the top lane, he could safely engage on a Brokenshard there without worrying about the stun. All things considered, though, that was actually pretty well played by both of them. They traded damage to an adequate level, and then they both had to back off.
Going to be just the quick minion kills for Brokenshard, sustaining what he can with the melee W. Gleebglarbu attacked over the wall. Ooh. The Little Lance is not hit, but Ignite might be enough. Probably does pick up the kill. This shield granting him the assist thanks to Bubbadub. So 7-6 now in kills.
They did have to burn 2 flashes for that, but we're really seeing the coordination from CompLexity and the reason they picked such a single target heavy team composition, because they're good at forcing these kills and they're trying to take advantage of Cloud9 Tempest just laning phase at this point. Despite CompLexity.Black falling so far behind in the early game, they're crawling back. I can't even imagine if that disaster didn't happen at the start of the game where they gave up 5 kills, how well they'd be doing. I think they're completely outplaying Cloud9 Tempest for the past 13 minutes maybe?
Yeah.
12 minutes?
Yeah, everything past 2:30,
yeah,
roughly. After the level 3 versus level 4 all-in, I gotta say it's been CompLexity.Black for the most part. A few glimmers for C9T. I gotta say their dragon play was smart. They lost Bischu, and they just came in and said, no, we're gonna take this dragon fight anyway 4v4 with the teleport. But yeah, it's a lot of great individual moves by CompLexity.Black. I want to see when the aggression comes back for Tempest.
Well, we know dragons in a minute.
Yep.
And this is the really contentious part for CompLexity.Black. If they have to fight a straight-up 5v5 at dragon, I think they might even lose the game. However, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get vision control of the dragon, and they're trying to catch someone from Cloud9 Tempest getting vision control. So if Prawley can catch someone without getting poked down by Ziggs, then they have the edge. But if it's a straight-up 5v5 fight, Cloud9 Tempest takes this one, no problem.
See if they can find it. Pink wards, 3 of them for CompLexity.Black right on your screen here. Gonna get rid of some more wards. They don't want to let C9T in. Of course, vision control is the way that CompLexity gets themselves in team fights. Cocoon's not quite gonna land right there. It's gonna be safety right there. Top laner still waiting around. You've got Westrice chilling up there. Of course, he has teleport and the Sunfire Cape. Yazuki holding the mid lane for now, but no one's really gonna make any major headway. ROBERTxLEE shoves the minion wave down, and looks like mid lane turret's under a bit of fire.
Yeah, the dragon's up in 2 seconds. This is actually CompLexity.Black in huge danger of getting collapsed upon.
We'll see if Dragon ends up being the goal instead, though. Honestly,
yeah, at this point,
trying for it.
Yeah, at this point, CompLexity.Black, I don't think they can really do the dragon realistically without opting into a fight. If they do, they're being very bold. They have to instantly kill probably Bischu.
Well, it's going to be the dragon going down rather rapidly. They're not going to try it at all. Mid lane still the target of attention. Brokenshard holding on. Mid lane turret does go down. Inside track for CompLexity.Black. Do they stop the rotation and get major damage here? There's a ward over the wall from Lulu. Spiderling comes in, and they're going to defer to Cloud9 Tempest. Of course, top lane has been pressured, though. It's another turret set up.
That was actually really good by both teams, knowing the limits of their team compositions and playing to each other's strengths. Cloud9 Tempest going for the dragon, and as a result, CompLexity tried to out-rotate and go for blue. And once again now, it's Cloud9 Tempest trying to overpower the mid lane with this group of 5. Nothing on CompLexity can really touch Cloud9 Tempest when they're 5.
Coming in, though.
Even if they got a fight here, I feel like Tempest wins it.
Well, let's see what happens. Westrice goes in for the ulti onto Kez. Big damage comes through, but he's going to escape that for now. Ziggs bomb comes across, knock up there. Kez is going to disengage. Big burst from Corki as well. Westrice has the Lulu ulti forced to walk back on this one, culling with some decent damage, but nothing major picked up just yet. They're trading blows back and forth, and they stop.
Game on, I think, after that fight, because they both just kind of clashed into each other. A slight initiation edge right there.
The catch! Kez! Brokenshard finds the solo kill.
Wow. So what all of that just kind of told us is that CompLexity.Black is well on their way to coming back in this game, because they initiated into a 5v5, albeit they did have a slight jump onto Cloud9 Tempest, which is what they need in fights like that. But then after they were able to evenly trade into Cloud9 Tempest strength, they got more kills.
Wow,
oh dear.
Probably overextends. Looks at the kill, and Altec doesn't find it. Brokenshard in a bad spot. That's going to be another kill picked up. Bubbadub under fire. Triple kill for Altec. That's going to put C9T right back in the driver's seat.
I think I cursed them. right there, saying how well CompLexity.Black was finding picks and forcing fights, and they just walk into Altec's Corki. The last person on Cloud9 Tempest who you want to get kills right there picks up a bunch of them. Really, CompLexity let their guard down for a second, and Altec crushed them.
Well, that's not going to be good things now for the red team here. Even Blue up getting stolen away.
Look at this. They think it's a 3v2, but like, why go in so heavily onto Altec right there? Probably thought he could get the root. That's not going to stop Altec from spamming his spells on you. He never got the silence early on. And then Altec could just chase in for the triple kill.
Yep. Massive damage coming through there. Trinity Force done at 20 minutes plus the Bloodthirster. Big item lead there. You can see only Sheen plus half of Phage for ROBERTxLEE. Bischu, probably finds some damage.
He guessed he was in that brush. He had to jump in and then ward it.
That was impressive. It does force the flash out, so so summon a spell pickup there for a ward. I gotta say, that's a worth it trade. Altec gonna kill the minions that have gotten pushed down to the bottom lane. That's safe for him. 197 minions. C9T are letting him get all that farm, and it's paying off for him.
He's going to be a real scary man. This is actually one of the strongest points in the game on Corki. Trinity Force first and Bloodthirster. Corki doesn't necessarily... we've talked about this, you and me, at length. We have slightly different opinions on Corki's ability to get armor penetration and magic penetration in the game. I feel like since he does such a mix of magic damage and physical damage, that right now, when he's just completed his core damage items, this is his strongest point in the game. Yeah, because he can't equally build penetration to maximize that armor later, so at this point, the enemy doesn't have the armor and magic resist, so he is just shredding everyone.
Yeah, I agree on that one for sure.
Yeah. Friendship.
Yes! I mean, you've got like 400-500 damage Qs by a late game. At this point, they're still like above 350.
Absolutely.
I keep forgetting to do the math on it, but right now, Corki Q is going to deal 360 plus 15. So he's like a 387 damage Q right there on like an 8-second-ish cooldown. There's a lot of magic burst right now coming out for him. Sword Shoes would be a good choice if you wanted him. Westrice getting rooted up a little bit. Yazuki has a Cutlass slow if he wants it, doesn't use it. Push now into the mid lane, C9T.
I really wonder. Cloud9 is, again, trying to force around his 5. The 3 kills by Altec might just put them over the top in this next fight. And as long as they continue to group up here, it makes it exceedingly difficult for CompLexity to force anything. There's no split push going. There aren't minion waves that are shoving in. There are no objectives with which CompLexity.Black can force around. So really in the driver's seat here is Cloud9.
There's no real hard engage for the roster, but they have a bunch of poke that they can force people off the turret with.
Their threat as a unit is what gives them the power right now.
See the top lane turret down to below 1/3. Brokenshard taking a bunch of damage to his face. ROBERTxLEE a little bit split off, but he is safe right now. Yazuki's not going to dive in just yet. The next wave shows up, though. Robert still off on the wings, puts the ulti down, finds some decent damage. Just enough for the team to wave clear, though. Yeah,
Robert's trying to take advantage of Cloud9 Tempest's inability to hard initiate right there. Normally that would be suicide for an AD carry to come into the side like that, but he knows Cloud9 can't really go at him.
Yeah. Well, Kez actually is off on the wings, but no one's going to capitalize if Warwick did ulti on that one.
He's the weakest member of the team as well, so
yeah, he's frail.
If he went over there, there's a chance Robert could have just killed him.
Oh, wave clear once again. Cloud9 Tempest looking for round 3 on this turret. Is it going to be enough damage? They're like 3 shots away.
Looks like.
They are going to take that turret down. Altec getting the kill credit on that one. 231 in minions, 303 is champion kill score. That is still a very powerful Corki. Dragon is up in 20 seconds, and C9T, they're all on the right side of the map for this one.
Yeah, if they pick up that Dragon, they're going to start... They're going to open up a 5,000 gold lead. It's getting to the point where it might be too late for CompLexity.Black. You know, you only get so many misplays in a game before you cannot come back. Honestly, if we're looking at this like a best-of-3 scenario, this is actually the type of game, if CompLexity.Black keeps fighting back, then, oh dear, here comes the fight.
It's going to be the jump into Brokenshard, then half HP, jumps into the air. Who's going to get the first real bit of damage down? Brokenshard does fall down, 1 for 0 C9T. ROBERTxLEE forced to flash away. 1 shot from Dead, puts the cooling down. Flash attack from Altec, gets the kill, probably in a bad spot. Bubbadub as well. Multiple kills coming through, only 1 traded back. It's going to be a 4 for 1 and another triple kill for Altec for C9T.
Altec is a monster right now, and it's just a lonely Westrice who's going to try and do it all himself. Cloud9 pushing hard on this mid turret.
Yeah, Westrice is going to do what damage he can, but he's not going to stop the turret from going down. Root might come out from Karma. Now they choose to just disengage instead. Blue buff and Dragon both up for C9T.
They're getting hunted by Warwick, but they should be able to take this. Another look at this fight. It's the group and the mob of Cloud9 Tempest. Brokenshard went in to just the heap of damage that Cloud9 Tempest has, and they're fighting in a choke point too, which is the worst place for CompLexity.Black to pick this fight, since they do not do the AoE damage. It's no wonder this fight went 4-1.
Of course, Dragon picked up on the back of that
Could
one
not
as well.
get the Dragon, actually.
Oh, they didn't? Oh.
Yeah. Westrice did a number on him. They were all so low, and Westrice had the move speed plus the huge amount of tankiness. He can get it back with CompLexity.Black.
Well, that's actually a really good pickup in for these guys. Of course, still going +3 kills. Worth more than a Dragon at the very least. I know Dragon is worth more XP if you're under-leveled in the game. Pretty sure that change went through in the preseason.
Correct.
Yeah.
You are correct.
So you get up to triple experience for Dragon if you're far enough behind. You get 25% times the square of the level difference. That's the
You're getting all technical. You're like, I think it went through this. Oh, here's the exact change. Yes.
25% times the square of the level difference, capped at triple. There you go. That's the one.
He just did that out of his memory. So,
I love numbers. They're fun. You know, I used to play under the alias Rain Man back in the day. Before the Rain Man was a thing. Yeah. Before League of Legends. I used that alias. That'll show you what I like about numbers.
So anyway, Cloud9 Tempest right now, still a 6,000 gold lead. And before that last fight erupted. I was actually going to say this is the type of game that CompLexity.Black's really going to regret. And these are the types of games that make best-of-3 series happen. Okay. I kind of feel like, to go all 3 games. Because clearly, ooh, that was a nice play by Robert. Clearly, CompLexity.Black has a lot of positive aspects to their game that they can take advantage of certain aspects of Cloud9 Tempest, but they just made one too many mistakes this game. Yeah. And it's kind of gotten out of control. They're still going to think, and they've proven that they have the capability to beat Cloud9 Tempest in Game 2. But this game, it's a long shot.
Yeah, it's going to take quite a bit of effort here. 7,000 gold, almost a difference there. And I kind of want to think back to the level 1 as well, because that was a greedy level 1. They went in with 4, expecting not to see 5.
Yeah, it's true.
Walking through wards, and was like, hope they're not there. We're going to invade with 4 people, and it definitely backfired on that one.
Almost speaks to overconfidence as a whole.
Yeah.
You know?
They thought they'd do the level 1 setups, and was like, they'll be here, don't worry.
And you even look at the other mistakes they made this game. Like walking into Altec's Corki.
Yeah.
With a bunch of low health people.
Yeah. If you don't one-shot Corki, he will kill the LeBlanc.
Yeah.
You are not a durable man, probably. So we'll see what happens. Gleebglarbu actually picks up not only Spooky Ghost for himself, it's one of the changes, items that got changed in 4.5, a lot more AP and some CDR, but also has a blue elixir, so high AP Karma, 130 something. He's almost got as much AP as Prolly. Converts on a Kez, good damage, but Prolly's forced to get back. Altec shows up, down below half. Zig's ulti not even going to matter. Altec finds the solo kill there. Twin Shadows get the slow on a Bubbadub as well.
That means Baron. They're going to try for Baron now.
Yep, TP comes in from Shyvana.
The Spooky Ghost.
It returns.
This will be a tough one. They're banking on Brokenshard's ability to steal, or the rest of the team's ability not to die.
Westrice powers through the minefield. They get a slow onto 2, actually. See if they can find much more. Satchel Charge does blow up already, and C9T actually forced to disengage. Westrice, though.
The damage,
though. One health, the dive comes through. Will they find enough? There comes the dive on in. Bubbadub goes down, but ulti comes in from Westrice's, but it's not going to be enough, though. Westrice now trying to run away on Warwick. One shot to go. Dodges the rocket. The stun comes in. Kez goes down. Nice play. Brokenshard repels over the wall on top of that one. That makes it a 1-for-1.
For now. Let's see if Brokenshard can get away from this one. Gleebglarbu. Nice flash. Knocked back.
Good satchel. Probably shows, though. Stun does not land on Altec. That's going to be Corki doing a whole bunch of pain. Now legendary for the C9T AD carry. Stops Baron, but it's a +1 kill.
Yeah. CompLexity.Black up against the wall right here. Prolly is just ridiculously underfarmed. DFG with no supporting damage, no magic penetration, no death cap. He can't take out anyone right now because the magic resist is pouring in from Cloud9 Tempest across the board. Look at those Negatron Cloaks and Banshees both getting built up. Let's take another look at this fight, though. It was really just a nice smattering of damage by CompLexity.Black. ROBERTxLEE with a Cullen to get them out of the pit to at least stop them from getting this. If Yazuki landed that ultimate, I think, on a Westrice, this fight's a clean take for the rest of them. But because he was able to get away with the sliver of health, it delayed it a bit more. Still, 7,000 gold down.
7,000, very big deal right there. It's a 1/6 lead for a C9T. That's the ratio of gold increase for what that one's worth. You're going to see CompLexity.Black. All they can really do now is just try to farm minions and get their gold back up in this one. Gonna see Warwick in the bottom lane. Does not have teleport. Shyvana doesn't either, for what it's worth. Buffs going down. The Lucian's still trying to get some farm as well, but C9T is making their way right back to Dragon. And they started it right off.
Yeah, well, Lucian's back at base. Warwick is bottom lane, and they know his teleport was down because they saw him teleport into the last one. Aggressive take right here. It's going to have to be a steal, and then he would die afterwards.
Yeah, probably low on health. Brokenshard taking a bit of pain as well. They're going to wait this one out until the ward.
Look at the damage they can do over the wall.
They won't go down, though. Here comes the repel. Goes down too fast. Brokenshard's on the wrong side of the wall at this point. Down goes 2 kills so far. Altec finds the chase down to Bubbadub. Now the rest of CompLexity.Black trying to run away. ROBERTxLEE and Prolly forced back to their base. Westrice also now overextended. Pump the ulti, but has nowhere to go in this one. Flashes the wall. He's running. But that Warwick's going down.
How far, though? That's another kill for Altec. 10-0-6. The Corki is a monster, and so is the Cloud9 Tempest team. 11 kill advantage, pushing to the base with 5.
There we go. Inhib turret now under fire. Yazuki taking the turret shots. Doesn't care too much about that. Turret falling over. ROBERTxLEE on the back foot as well. He's running backwards. Probably still in a pretty decent spot for himself. But the mid inhib is gone. It's going to be C9T backing up, though, off that one, with another gigantic lead with Baron buff now on their champions.
Of course they must back away at this point, but we can definitely see they have built themselves up a monstrous advantage. They know the Dragon timer, or at least they should. They should stick around for this one. Altec, do not go home. Come on, guys. You're going to give the Dragon a CompLexity.Black. Don't do it. They're going back.
They'd rather buy. Oh, the rest of them are going to do it.
Aha!
It's the split teamwork. The other guys kill it. It's going to be the Yordles don't need to kill dragons. They're non-violent, actually. They're just going to buy.
Yep.
Yordles a race that loves shopping.
Banshee's Veil's on Yazuki, Altec, even
most of it here for Bischu.
Most of it even on Bischu. Just goes to show how they are. Really just an overload of damage when compared to CompLexity.Black. So they don't even necessarily have to itemize the Void Staff onto Ziggs. Normally you would see the third offensive item on Ziggs before the defensive item, but they're really just making sure that no one can get picked off because they know for a certainty if they get a 5v5 fight, they will win.
Yeah.
So they just are minimizing their ability to get one shot or surprised out of a fight.
I guess you figure with a 13,000 gold lead, that averages out to about 2,600 per person on the team.
It's a Bansheesville.
Yeah, like everyone can afford a Banshees and still just have a level lead.
And have just as much damage as the other team, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plus Baron buff, plus all the other happiness that comes with levels, and just heck, having health and MR is not exactly a dead stat. So it's going to be a good situation for Cloud9 Tempest, looking now to push in the bottom lane. Seems to be the area of focus with Bischu and Altec there, the Yordle pair. Karma's coming up. Shyvana with teleport up is waiting off on the top side. Just going to split push for now.
Plus, we were talking before the game, or during the first delay, about the double heal bot lanes and the amount of shielding that can happen in the game right now. Mikhail's for the heal, Locker the Iron Solar for the shield and the aura, on top of the Banshee's Veils, on top of the double heal.
Yep.
No one is getting assassinated by Prolly today.
Bischu using that barrier. He can get healed by the AD carry as well. There's so much health available to these guys. And the siege now begins. Yazuki will stay top lane there. Westrice will see if he can get his way in on the Warwick. They will have 4 seconds to make the move before Shyvana appears. Bubbadub loses goes health bar though to Altec. That's the kind of damage they're playing with.
I'd say that's a lot of damage. Bubbadub's going to be in a bit of a pickle pretty soon here. Trying to cull away the wave, but Cloud9 Tempest is not afraid.
This is not the best thing for Prolly. He's been slowed down. Good burst comes in from Kez. Here comes the engage as well. AoE. Man, Masswell just coming across. Low health for CompLexity.Black. Bottom lane inhibitor. Now going to go the way of Cloud9 Tempest as well. The siege continues now to the Nexus turrets. CompLexity.Black do not look like they're going to be able to stop this one out. It's going to be the quick kill on turret number 1. C9T back off a little bit, waiting for the wave to push forward.
Yeah, they'll have 2 waves of Supermanions about to come in here. It's an almost nearly impossible hold for CompLexity.Black, but they're going last-ditch effort.
Goes in for Bischu. Good damage comes across. He does fall over. Westrice trades his life for it. 1-for-1 fight goes in so far. Brokenshard now running away in the backlands. He's going to go down 2 kills again to Altec. 4v3 on the map from Cloud9 Tempest. Look now for the last Nexus turret. Push comes through. Burst comes in. Altec's not going to fall down. Gets Whimsy. Doesn't matter. Flashing away. Altec still alive. Getting lower on health. Tries to get the kill. He does go and trade kills for this one. But the ace comes through. 2 kills for Kez. Nexus goes down. Cloud9 Tempest going to win game 1 of the semifinal.
25 kills in 35 minutes. They get the Nexus, and that was a nice victory for them. Yes, they had the benefit of the level 1, but the game ended up evening out a little bit. CompLexity.Black did swing a little bit of that forward towards their momentum. They kept their heads.
Yeah.
They didn't go on tilt. A lot of teams, after realizing they had a big edge and they start down like that, they'd start yelling at each other, they'd start tilting. And pressure games have been a problem for players like Bischu in the past. To stay steady throughout the rest of that, good work by Cloud9 Tempest.
Yeah, they played the game pretty much straight. Lost a couple kills, didn't matter too much. Played the objective game pretty well. And yeah, they got the team fights. I especially like the mid game where we had, I think it was like Dragon Fight number 3. And you had CompLexity.Black pushing mid, pushing top. C9T took Dragon, came back to defend mid, pushed mid themselves, actually equalized the turret score off that one as well.
Yeah.
And the whole time, it was like they kept playing these like, I know you'll take this, so we'll do that. I said, well, we can react to that. And they kept kind of playing one step ahead. And they matched really well in the rotations. Both teams were smart.
Yeah, I mean, but as we move towards this best of 3, because we're in best of 3 land now.
Yes.
They no longer get to play these best of 1s. I do feel like CompLexity.Black has a shot to take them down.
They do.
Still, this would be one of those things where you think maybe they take games 2 and 3 if they pick a more team fight centric composition.
Yeah.
And don't make the mistakes level 1. Great victory for Cloud9 Tempest. They stayed with it, but they had that level 1. You don't get that every game.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the next couple of games, guys, with our first semifinal game in the books. Time to take a quick break. When we come back, it's game 2 between CompLexity.Black and Cloud9 Tempest. Plus, Boy will be back to talk some more Challenger. We'll be right back. Stick around.
But then after they were able to evenly trade into Cloud9 Tempest's strength, they got more kills.
Wow,
oh dear.
Probably overextends. Looks at the kill, and Altec doesn't find it. Brokenshard in a bad spot. That's going to be another kill picked up. Bubbadub under fire. Triple kill for Altec. That's going to put C9T right back in the driver's seat.